Hi, I'm Niklaus Bauer.
And I'm John Kärki.
You're watching Flight TV, and today we're doing this. Hooked up!
Och kolla öringen efter, kolla vilken öring! Jävlar vilken fet öring! Helvete vilken öring alltså!
That's 4 kilo of steel, man. Hi guys, and welcome back to Flight TV. I'm Niklaus Bauer. This is my good friend John Kärki, who works at the Swedish Anglers Association. And today we're downtown Stockholm, as you can see. We're going to do some urban sea trout fishing. So what do you think about the conditions today?
Well, today we have some spring fishing,
Yep.
and I think we're gonna target some big fish on the shallow areas.
Okay, so the ones are coming up in the shallows to digest their food and stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly. They melt in the food. A lot of the fish is searching food at the deep area and melt at the shallow area.
Okay, cool. But I had a really cold night, so how do you think that's going to affect the fishing today?
I think it's gonna start slow, but in the afternoon, probably we're gonna run some fish.
Cool. And you're working with preserving and helping fish to spawn and stuff like that. That's kind of your main job.
Exactly. I'm working with restoration of small creeks and getting spawning areas for the trout here in Stockholm.
5-6 years ago, it was really bad in Stockholm when it comes to sea trout fishing. But the last 5 years, it's really been a good situation, I would say.
Yeah, and in Stockholm we also have a hatchery.
Yep.
The Stockholm city and the county government are putting out 140,000 one-year-old trouts. And we also have a wild population, but the sport fishermen's catches are about 80% hatchery fish and 20% wild fish. In the future, hopefully, we have 100% wild fish. That's my goal.
That would be nice. That would be nice.
I mean, sea trout is my passion in life, and I love fly fishing for them here in Stockholm.
Yeah, you're really a float tube trout bum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My regular fishing is from float tube and wading. But boat is nice. And
so it's going to be a little bit luxury fishing today then?
Yeah, this is going to be fun.
So as you can see, we're kind of downtown Stockholm. We have the Globe and the inlet of Stockholm. This is where all the cruise ships goes in. And we're going to fish the channel that goes out from here. It's going to be a lot of these big cruise ships passing by, and they are pulling a lot of current. They're doing a lot of waves. And this is what we're actually going to take advantage of, because they push up a lot of bait fish and stuff that the sea trout is going to feed on. So at those times when they go by, it's usually a good biting period. Det blir mest film just nu, men
Vi filmar.
men förhoppningsvis blir det fisk sen.
Men vad är det ni tror att ni får?
Nej, havsöring vi får. Havsöring. Tack.
Tack.
Should we go and get him?
Yeah.
Let's go.
I'm fishing a rig with a loose magic head on the leader, so I get a little bit more movement in the fly, and also get a fly that pushes more water, so the fish can feel the fly with a leather line. A good tip for bigger fish.
This shallow water here now is being heated by the sun, and the wind is pushing this warmer water down to where it goes a little bit more narrow here. And also the wind is pushing the water to get a little bit more disturbed here, so it's a little bit murky. And also some nice black spots. So this is one of my favorite trout habitats now in the spring. What do you say, John?
Yeah, it's
Looks
very
pretty
nice.
promising.
Get a lot of protection for the trout in the dark spots, and a lot of food here.
And the deeper water.
Yeah.
So now we have 4.4 degrees, but we're probably gonna have 4.8, 4.9 in the end of this. So see if we can catch one here now. Fin kant där.
Och kolla öringen efter, kolla vilken öring! Jävlar vilken fet öring! Helvete vilken öring alltså! Jäklar! Did you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it. Nice one.
It was a big trout. It was like 65 maybe.
65, 70, but it was completely silver. So
Yeah, and it was
it was
really fast.
looking for your fly.
Oh. We will see if he gonna take the fly now. He's somewhere here.
Did he come from inside or?
Yeah, from inside.
It was a nice trout.
Yeah,
It was big spots. You could see it straight up.
yeah. It was a cool fish.
Yeah. When you're retrieving a fly in general, but it's really important when it comes to sea trout fishing, it's really important to hold your rod tip close to the water, because if you're holding the rod tip high up, you get a slack, like a bow line like this, and a lot of these gentle takes, they can sometimes be when you're fishing sea trout, you can just see the line just go whoop, whoop, but you don't really feel it in between your fingers. So always when it comes to fly fishing, if you're fishing a stream or something, keep the rod tip very close to the water surface, and you will have a much better hookup rate, and you'll feel much more fish too.
I think I just had a follower here. It followed the fly from the rock out here.
It's really a perfect sea trout spot.
Yeah.
Hooked up! So we fished the inside of this reef here, and then we went across. John had a fish that followed. So,
Ooh, is it a nice one?
yeah, it's a nice one. So we just fished it from the outside, and then this fish just slammed the fly over the shallow water here.
Yeah, nice.
Small one, nice.
Nice, it's a formed one.
Yeah.
You see it on the fin here.
Probably a little bit more than 50 centimeters.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a male.
Yeah, small male. Let him go back now. Go get bigger. Fish knuckles.
Nice.
So it's the classic woolly bugger with a magic head. Probably the most lethal weapon you can have here in Stockholm. The tail is peach colored marabou. We have some dubbing of prisp, and then a super long hair chenille in just a very light orange color, tied on a short shank attitude extra, size 2. Simple, really effective. Watch it on Thai TV. As you can see now, when the boat is coming, all the water is moving a lot here, so it becomes really current, and they start feeding. So cool spot. Get a bigger one now. We just had a short lunch break here, and Kärki is digging around in the bottom here, so we can show you a little bit of the food that the sea trout has when they are out in these really shallow areas. But this is a little bit of what they feed. We couldn't manage to catch any gobies, but this is some sticklebacks. This is the larger stickleback.
Yeah.
Something they feed on a lot. They have 3 spikes on the top here. See, 1, 2, 3. That's how you can recognize it from the smaller ones. This is a good food for both perch and sea trout.
And here we have the smaller stickleback. It has 9 spikes on the back.
And on the top here, yeah.
Yeah.
And these have a tendency to school up along the sides of weed lines and also around structure like this. But I think these small ones are usually along the weed lines, and that's why we're catching a lot of sea trout along the weed lines in these soft bottoms, because you can see big schools of those along the sides.
They're searching protection in the weeds.
Yep, yep. And of course we have the gammarus.
Yeah, Gammarus locusta, a small shrimp type.
They can get actually pretty big. They can become up to like 20 millimeters or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are feeding a lot on these during the winter time because they're very simple for them to digest.
Yeah, winter time and early spring.
Yeah. So it's really nice to see a lot of bait fish and food in here.
Yeah, the food is here, so probably the trout is here.
So we're gonna get them?
Yeah.
Yep. Come on. Ah!
Jag har fått många fiskar i mina dagar.
Är det så?
Ja.
Så alltid när du sitter med en besa framför en vass, då vet jag var du har fått den någonstans. Va?
Kan vara lite så. I alla fall den där.
Oh, jättevirvel!
What a fish!
Oh, he's following.
saw that
No, he's
fish?
following. He's there. Fish it. That was a really big fish.
That was a big fish.
That was a nice swirl. I didn't see it, but it was a
What an attack!
big swirl. Yeah. Focus, man.
Yeah.
This is the perfect sky. And we have some. It's a bright sunny day, but it's not that ultra bright. We have just some cloud cover that gives that extra, like 0.1, 0.2 degrees of water temperature in the base, but it's not too bright. It's really a nice cloud and some wind. So it's really nice conditions now. Oh, it's falling. Oh, you burned.
It followed the fly when I did the roly-poly.
Oh, I saw it. I think it was a rainbow.
Okay.
It was a fat fish though.
Yeah.
Really fat fish.
I had a follower when I did the roly-poly.
Oh, they're coming. Ooh.
It's a rainbow, or it's a really
it's a
fat
big trout.
trout.
Came again. Look at the swirl here. It's really up to something here. So. We're moving place. We didn't manage to get them to bite on this side here. So we're gonna go down to the next point. We want to fish where the wind is hitting the point really hard, and it makes kind of an eddying behind it. It's been the places where we have located the fish so far. Let's try. That's what we call a high-speed fly changing. The sun has come up really high. We found a really nice place here with a little bit murky water. The temperature is almost 1 degree more. So I'm gonna switch to a Sink 2 line and a jiggy fly, so we can get the flies just slightly down, maybe 70 to a meter down. And chartreuse flies are usually very good when the water is a little bit dirty. So I'm gonna try that. And when you fish flies like this that has a lot of jigging effect to it, it's really important to make a loop knot. We said this regarding the loop knot many times, but it's really important feature. And I would say when it comes to sea trout fishing, the hookup rate is probably 30 to 40% more when the fly is loose and really not pulling by the tippet. So nice loop knot that can make the fly move freely like this. Let's give it a try. Yoo-hoo! That's a tail walker. As you can see, the fly is they take them really, really hard. So it's a chartreuse jiggy fly. It's a very simple pattern, but it works like a jig in the water. First cast, man.
Yeah, nice.
Sometimes it's good to change the fly.
So you fished the sink 2 line or?
Yeah, sink 2. I went a little bit deeper.
Yeah, and fast?
Not fast, really long, slow pulls.
Okay.
The gear we use for sea trout here in Stockholm is basically 7 and 8 weight rods. I prefer the 8 weight rods when we fish bigger flies, and 7 weight if we fish magic heads and a little bit smaller bait fish patterns. Basically I fish 2 lines. I fish the Kust slow intermediate one, and then the sink 2. It's really good if you want to come down a little bit deeper. You can get the flies to come down around 1 meter deep. And then we fish long fluorocarbon leaders. You prefer like a 0.3 tippet?
Yeah, exactly.
I usually go a little bit thinner, like 0x. It's 29.8 or something like that. But around that, and of course if you go to a little bit bigger flies, you go a little bit heavier tippet. But that's the general gear we use. Nothing extraordinary. A little bit softer action rods, so the trout doesn't have any chance to get away.
Yes.
So when it comes to flies, it's a lot of streamer flies. They're really feeding on bait fish here. So one of my favorite flies and a fly that's really catching a lot of fish here is a woolly bugger with a magic head on it. It's a marabou tail, and it has some peach color marabou and a lot of orange super long hair and some ripple eyes in UV color. This is a very, very good base color that attracts fish a lot of the times. And then when the water gets a little bit warmer and the fish becomes a little bit more active, it's really fun to fish these jiggy flies. It's a fly that is tied on a short shank hook. It's very simple. It's just some bucktail, a few strands of flash abo or rippled eyes, and 2 grizzly feathers, and a very heavy head. And they really sink fast, and it's really a jigging action to them. It's really fun to fish them. The strikes are aggressive like crazy. You can fish them slow with long pauses, or you can fish them roly-poly style really, really fast. And the strikes are just bam! And the last fly that comes like in the end of May or beginning of May when the water temperature becomes really warm is the big flat-wing flies. This is tied by a good friend of mine, Marcus. He's really a flat-wing fanatic, and he ties these really well. This is around 20 centimeter long, and you fish these roly-poly style, and you fish them really fast with a sink 2 line. And when they start feeding on this is extremely fun fishing. It's not really there yet because it's a little bit too cold in the water, but when it hits 7-8 degrees, this is really the shit. So that was basically some of the flies we use. Should we go and catch one now?
Yes, a big one.
A big one, yeah. Ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt. Fish on! Oh, take it easy man. Ooh. Roll it straight into the net.
Come on, let's fish.
Oh, yeah, there it is! What happened there? I was like, we're gonna move. No, we're not gonna move. That's 4 kilo of steel, man. What a fish! We just filmed, we were talking about the fly, and I was just putting my box in, and you roll out your fly, and then he goes, I got one!
What a shock!
That was really
It's a nice fish,
Yes.
it's a silver one.
Pure silver, man. That's the shortest cast I've ever seen a trout being caught on.
Like tenkara.
Yeah, tenkara fishing, definitely.
I just rolled out my leader and the fish took it just beside the boat.
We've been sitting here taking a coffee break and showing flies for the camera for you guys, and then this just happens.
It's a hatchery fish, like 5 years old.
So we're gonna take our measurements. So we're just gonna Put it on a mat. Make sure it's wet first. Perfect. Put the head here. I can do it that way too. It's nice. 65 centimeters.
Yeah, 65.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I'm breathing in and breaking down. I feel my time is running out. The fire in my heart will burn me to the ground. I did my part, I tried my best. The things I'm fighting to protect always shatter into pieces in the end. Oh, I'm broken and I'm barely breathing. I'm falling 'cause my heart stopped beating. If this is how it all goes down tonight, if this is how you bring me back to life.
That was a sick fish, man.
Yeah.
You just put the fly and the leader out.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to kind of go into the warmer water here.
Yeah, when the woolly buggy just sank to the bottom,
But
the
look,
fish took it.
Look where you caught the fish. 7 degrees is here.
Ooh.
4 degrees out there.
Yeah,
So now the water is probably really heating
Yeah.
up.
absolutely. And the weather front
Some
is
clouds.
changing. Maybe it's coming some rain or something over there.
Well, I'm not gonna complain about that. So warm water and some rain can't be better than that.
I took the fish on the white woolly bugger. A really good fly for bigger trout.
And now we got some really trout weather coming here, so
Yeah.
this can be really interesting.
I'm broken and I'm barely breathing. I'm falling 'cause my heart stopped beating. If this is how it all goes down tonight, if this is how you bring me back to life, this is what it's like when we collide. This is how you bring me back to life. Breathing, lost all feeling. I'm barely breathing, still holding on.
Nice little guy. Just hammered that woolly bugger. Nice fish.
If this is how it all goes down tonight, if this is how you bring me back to life.
So this is sea trout fishing in April, people. 5 minutes ago it was clear skies and beautiful weather, and now it's snowing and it's cold. Hope the sea trout is biting better in the snow now. Just massive amount of herring here. See the big trout standing inside of it? This is all the herring.
Yeah,
You can see the trout standing in here.
nice.
That's pretty cool.
It's
Or
a-
it's at least a fish standing in there.
Yeah, it's a big one.
The big ferry is coming now, so they should start feeding here. Look at all the water that's pushing in front of it.
The
They're
trout is
actually-
gonna
look,
start
look. Oh,
eating now.
look at the amount of water that's actually moving.
Yeah.
Check it out. It's actually flooding this whole area now.
We're fishing in a river.
Ja. Brukar nappa precis hela vägen in där inne. Hopp, jag hade den efter. They are picky.
Yeah.
Oj, kolla.
Oj!
Hoppa en.
Jävlar!
The jumper.
Den kommer ta.
Ja.
Ja.
Ja, oh. Det was on. Ja. Ah. It's nibbling the fly. There might be a school of small ones out here. Yep. Oh! Yep.
Nice!
Got him. Fourth time.
Nice, man!
That was one tough sea trout to catch. I think it's the one we saw that jumped.
Yeah, nice.
Probably around 50 or something.
Nice.
It was the fourth time we took the fly.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, I got him. I got him.
First a jumper and then...
Yeah, I think it was the same size that fish that jumped, I think.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
It's a very beautiful trout.
I think it was a whole school of fish there, so let's get this one back and see if we can catch another one.
Yeah.
Oh, Polly, pretty Polly, don't you take this unkind. Polly, pretty Polly, don't take me unkind. Let me sit beside you, say what's on my mind. Well, my mind is we marry, and never shall we part.
Hey, that was my second cast, man. That was exactly the cast I was going to do after.
Fish!
Oh, I had it. It was biting my fly all the way in here.
A baby! Oh, it's a wild trout.
A wild fish, cool.
It's a wild trout from one of the creeks here in Stockholm. You can see it on the tail fin, and the back fin is straight. A very nice fish.
Cool.
In about 3 years it's up in a creek here and spawning and make more trout babies.
Cool, man. Wild one.
Yeah, that's what we want.
So we have like a man-made wall in here, and it's pretty steep. We're around 3.5 meters deep here. So we're fishing a sink-to line, so get the flies down a little bit deeper, because usually when the fish is really active you can get them to come up to hit the flies even if you're fishing intermediate, but these places are really good with a little bit faster sinking line. Should always have like an intermediate and a sinking line in the boat or in the belly boat, so you can be prepared for all conditions. Good job.
Nice, man.
That was a nice fish.
It's
Big male.
yeah, angry male.
Yeah. A spawn fish that's getting into shape again.
Yeah.
But really good condition. So it's a big male. So I took the pink magic head. Was fishing. I went to a sink too because this ledge here is a little bit deeper. We're actually on 3 meters of water here, so they're standing very, very close to this.
Yeah.
We're not that far from Stockholm, so all the fish that spawned in Stockholm, they are migrating out now, and so we're fishing a little bit heavier sinking lines on these drops here, and yeah, third cast.
Yeah, nice fish and nice fight.
Yeah, it was a really good fight. So John, how old do you think this fish is now?
I think he's like 5 or 6 years old.
And he's been in the if it's 6 years old, he's been in the ocean for 5 years?
Yeah, 5 years.
And you think it's the first time he spawned or the second time?
Maybe second time.
Yeah.
The fish in Stockholm seems to spawn very often.
Okay, they do? Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's check the length of this one.
65.
Exactly the same size as yours.
Yeah.
Super fish.
Yeah, very nice fish.
3 weeks he's gonna be all silver again.
Yeah. Maybe next year he's 72 centimeters or something.
Okay, so he grows that fast?
Yeah. Fish like this can grow like 3-4 centimeters during the winter, and then coming the summer and they are out eating herring and, you know, have a party.
So they can add like 10 centimeters in a year?
Yeah.
Almost?
Yeah.
So then we definitely should let this guy go so he can become 75 centimeters for next year.
Yeah.
So we took this pink magic head. It's a very light pink, a lot of UV in it, and fished a Kust sink-to line, so the flies come a little bit deeper. I think we fished them like a meter deep or something like that, meter and a half almost. Worked well. Let's get this guy back in his right element again.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Absolutely. man.
265 today.
Yeah,
It's a good day.
good
That's a
fishing.
really good day, actually.
That's big trouts.
Yeah, it's really big trout. So guys, I think that's all. Thank you for watching, and follow us on social media. And until next time, go catch a big one.